Welcome, 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 everyone, to another episode of Finding Freedom Through Confidence. Whereas we always say, confidence is not something that you can pick up from a supermarket shelf, it is an ever growing muscle. This is the space where leaders, visionaries, and high achievers come to be seen, to be heard, and to be reignited. And so, if we haven't met as yet, I am Tanique Easy, speaker, corporate trainer, facilitator, empowerment, and life coach. Organization unlock my internet just went. I think my internet just went and then it came back. Okay. Again, welcome, 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 everyone, to another episode of Finding Freedom Through Confidence, where we always say confidence is not something that you can pick up from a supermarket shelf, it is an ever growing muscle. This is the space where leaders, visionaries, and high achievers come to be seen, to be heard, to be reignited. And if we haven't met as yet, if this is your first time in my space, I am speaker, corporate trainer, facilitator, empowerment, and life coach. And I help organizations unlock the power of their new frontline and mid level leaders and equip them with the mindset, vision, and performance strategies to lead through power, to lead with power through my proprietary MVP framework. And this is another episode of in the series of Leadership Unlocked. And here's the thing. Today's topic, in today's topic, let me add Dr. Marcia to the stream. There we go. And in today's topic, we're going to challenge the traditional image of leadership, what leadership looks like. You see, we're going to be talking about command without control, how new leaders can lead with authority without overstepping. What does that truly look like? Because, in all honesty, let's face it, a lot of new leaders are being taught to manage, not to lead. And there is a difference. There is a big difference between leading and managing, because managing is about systems and processes and maintaining that status quo, while leading is about inspiring people towards a shared vision, creating that space where they can be innovative in their thinking. So, what does it really take to lead at the front line and in mid level leadership, especially when the pressure is high and guidance is kind of vague? Here's the thing, my own leadership journey wasn't shaped in corporate training rooms. It was actually born in real life spaces, in my leading in my Toastmasters, leading on nonprofit boards, leading in my community, and also where I had to lead events, community events. And this is where you don't have a title. You don't have a title behind your name. And therefore, in that space, in that context, you earn trust not because you have a title, but because you demonstrated leadership capabilities, you demonstrated behavior that is synonymous to having leading persons, having a vision and wanting persons to go in a direction that is beneficial to all. And so today, I have with me my friend and colleague and mentor, Dr. Marcia Thomas. She is no stranger to this platform. Dr. Marcia is a 6 times best-selling author. She is the wife of one husband. She is a Christian life and leadership coach and consultant. And she is the creator of the free model. That is her signature framework that she uses to support her clients in identifying, understanding, and pursuing their God given purpose. Dr. Marcia, is there anything else that you want to share about yourself with our audience?
Not at all, not at all. I think that is some total of it. Maybe I would add that I help persons who are completing their dissertation, masters and doctoral students, to successfully complete prepare them and for their dissertation and their successful completion.
Awesome, awesome, awesomeness. So, if you're a doctoral student, if you're in your master's program, Dr. Marcia is the person to reach out to so that she can help you to complete your dissertation so that you can achieve that other degree that you are going after. But let's get into it. And again, if you're joining us for the first time, please type in the chat that you are new to this platform, that you are new to us. We are streaming live on LinkedIn, we're streaming live on YouTube. Go ahead, share this out with the new leaders or the mid level leaders that you know in your space and context that will need to hear this message that we are about to share today. Because it is a practical, because in this space, we are not coming with the fluff and the traditional sense of leadership. Because as I shared with you, how I am looking at leadership is not through the traditional lenses,
Mhm.
but it is through my own lived experiences, as well as the framework that I have developed, not just for myself that has helped me, but will help those who are new in leadership, those who are in the front line, those who are in mid-level leaders, whether you have been in mid-level leadership for 0 to 5 years, those are the
Mhm.
persons who need this kind of thinking, this kind of mindset shift that will help them to grow and to become a better leader. And so, yes, here's what happens: they come under the pressure to perform. So new leaders and mid-level leaders, they come under the pressure to perform. And why do they try to do this? Why new leaders try to control whenever they are in that space? So here's what I want to start with. Here's what I want to start with. Why do so many new leaders default to control? And here are some reasons why I believe that. And I'll bring Dr. Marcia in just a moment to share her insight as well, because she has been in leadership for a number of years and she has seen the myriads of reasons why. But here's what I have gleaned. It's because they're afraid of being questioned. That is the first thing. They are afraid of being questioned. And why is this? Because if I don't allow you to question me, it won't show that I don't have all the answers, right? It won't show that because I have to stop you in your tracks. So here's the thing: we have promoted the doers, like the persons who do, and that's the thing where executives, they promote the best doers in their organization, but the thing is they were never trained how to lead. They didn't get that coaching how to lead, and so they got promoted into this position, and so now they come with control. They come with control. They default to control. And so I don't allow you to question me. I am afraid of being questioned because, one, I don't have all the answers. My authority, I already know you. And so those are it says that I'm losing connection. Dr. Marcia, are you hearing me? Are you there? I'm not sure what's happening with my internet, but I've been losing control I think I lost Dr. Marcia, but let's continue. And let me know if if you're hearing me. If you are hearing me, you are in the audience and you are hearing clearly. Just let me know because I have been losing signal ever so often. I've been losing signal, and so I'm not sure if you're actually hearing me, but nonetheless, we will continue. We will continue. Um, and what is the other? What is the other? The other reason I believe that they default to control is that they're afraid of being disrespected. Like we come to the point where we feel that I don't, if I am holding on to control, you can't disrespect me, and it is synonymous to you being questioned. It is synonymous to you being questioned. Let me see, because again, as I said, I have been losing signal. I know Dr. Marcia fell off, and I hope she'll be able to join us back. But yes, that actually ties into being afraid of being questioned. They're afraid of being questioned, and if you are questioned, then you may feel that you are being disrespected, which is so not true. Because one of the things that we have to look at is that we have to be self-aware as leaders. Self-awareness is key, and mindset, shifting our mindset is like you understanding that your leadership is a business. Your leadership, you being able to lead, is your business. And when I say your business, it's like you are a professional athlete. Your body is your business line. Your body is your business, and so you have to take care of the body. And so in leadership, your leadership is your business. And so you have to take care of that leadership vehicle. And what does that look like? It means that you have to be self-aware. It means that you have to learn how to navigate the different nuances of what leadership is. Not coming in with this preconceived notion that leadership is control and that it's what I say and you don't question me. And so the other one that I've thought of is that they're afraid of failing publicly. Like we're all afraid of failing. We are all afraid of failing. But the thing is that failure, as some people call it, and Nelson Mandela put it this way, he says that learn, we either lose or we learn, right? And so let us think of it as a learning process, not as a failure. So it's not about failing, but it is about learning. How well am I learning? And so I believe why they're afraid of being questioned, being disrespected, and afraid of failing public is that they haven't activated the V in their leadership as yet. And what is that V? That V is vision. They haven't activated their leadership vision. And so I want to say that true leadership, it isn't loud. True leadership, when you activate the vision in your leadership, when you activate the why of your leadership, it isn't loud. It is anchored in clarity. When you get to activate that vision, you get clarity, and clarity comes when you activate your vision. That's what happens. And so vision isn't about where the team is going. It is about who you are and while you're leading them there. So again, vision isn't just about where the team is going. It is about who you are while you are leading your team to get to that place. And remember that vision is not a destination, vision is a journey. Let me add back Dr. Marcia to the stream. Dr. Marcia, yeah. I think we we lost you there.
Yes, I got bumped off. There is some workmen doing some work, and so I got bumped off.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay. Because I've been having that connectivity issue as well, where it told me earlier that I
yeah.
was not connected, but it reconnected me. But yes, so vision is a leader's internal compass, right? And it's powered by purpose, and vision is anchored in values, and it is activated through creativity. And now that we have Dr. Marcia back with us, I just want to ask her, like, because I was sharing that the reasons why new leaders default to control is that they're afraid of being questioned, they're afraid of being disrespected, and they're afraid of failing publicly, Dr. Marcia. And the thing is that I believe, why they're afraid of these things is because activated, they haven't activated the their vision as a leader. And so they struggle to lead authentically. They struggle to lead because and they have this control. They want to control every nuance, everything. They want to micromanage every bit and detail because, again, they were a person who was a doer. They were the doer. They were single. They were the only persons, like, they weren't that they were in a team, but they got their work done. Like, we have this team, but I am the doer. I am not leading the team, but I am a part of that process. And so I am that doer. And now I'm promoted into leading a team. I don't know what to do. I become I am micromanaging every single thing that these persons do. And so it is causing challenges within the
They
workspace. And so, what are your thoughts on these three things that I've outlined? Why is it that new leaders default to control instead of
well,
command with authority?
as I look through 20 span years of leadership at all levels of the education industry, and at the college level, at the primary level, at the intermediate level, and also as a trainer, I find that persons who are given positions via connections or because of who they know or because of nepotism or cronyism are usually going in already with a mindset of control because they know that they did not matriculate to the position. They know that they did not deserve it. They know that they should not have been given the position. There were other persons already flagged for the position that were very capable, that were being groomed and mentored to take up that position. So that mindset of control was preset for some of these new leaders. Then there is a lack of expertise. So they feel their ego comes to the forefront at all times, and they are in a competition. They are not cooperative people. They were bullies as youngsters in their families. They are bullies. They are expected. They are the cream of the crop in their family. They are the go-to for everything. They are the ones who they go to for advice, and so they go in with a controlling spirit also, and that is a personality trait that a new leader can carry that becomes very detrimental to the organization. There's also the pressure from supervisors and from persons who gave you the job. So they gave you a mandate that was already impossible. And you have to prove yourself when they give you a basket to carry water because the resources were not supplied and so on, and you have an issue. There are some persons who go into organizations also and they inherit persons who are not capable. So, under the pressure to meet the deadlines and the targets and so on, you have to look at a team that you not necessarily can trust because the abilities are not there. And under the previous leadership, they were carried to this point, and you now have to carry them further. That crossover to take them from where they are to where they ought to be can require some control and micromanaging that can be overdone because of fear, because of the insecurity, because of the pressure, and because of the expectations, plus the insecurity or the inexperience that they carry to the role.
And I agree with that, Dr. Marcia, because again, as I said, they were the best doers. They are able to do the job. It's not that they're not able to do their job. They have done their job very well. They have been getting the exceed expectation year after year when it comes on to their performance reviews. But when it comes on to the leadership aspect of it, they're not coached into that space. They're not trained up into that space because you see them as having the potential and you just put them there. And yes, I can take it from the point where you said that persons come in, and they come in because they they were brought in because of friendship, not because they actually earned the position. And so, yes, they come into with that aspect of micromanaging everything because, again, they don't want anybody to question them. And so they come in with that level of that level of control and feeling insecure, because when you feel insecure, you don't want persons to question you.
And there
When
are
you
some persons too who, when they are told or given the role under the guise of an interview, they are told to go in there. Leadership is not hard. You just delegate and you just get people to do what you want them to do, and that is not that's leadership theory. It's not revelation, because people are dynamic forces. They are not static, and so you
exactly,
have to understand what the whole person and what they carry to the position. And so
absolutely,
sometimes new leaders get themselves in trouble because of who their mentors are and who their directors are, because they tell them to abuse their leadership position and to control people and have them do what is out there and what is required. I find that new leaders who know their own and step away do not become popular leaders and are never given the badge of exceptional, because exceptional means that you are able to comply to all demands, whether they are rational or irrational, and that you are able in the middle of the night to be called on by persons who are supposed to be doing the job of supervising and mentoring you to do their wishes and not your job description. And that
right.
is why so many persons, they fit their job description to the T. They are good team players, and that there is this myth that because they are good team players and because their job description that they are to carry out is they're always on top of it, that they will make good leaders, and
That's
that is
true.
a myth. It
That
doesn't
is true.
necessarily follow. Persons who are good team leaders must, and who are comfortable in their roles, must not be rewarded and forced into positions that show them up or distort their skills and expertise because it's a misfit. So we must be very serious about that also.
Yes, and we have seen it. We have seen it overall because I have had conversations with clients who have found themselves in this position where they, and not them particularly, but they inherited a team where persons are misfits. They again, they are good team players, as you said. They're good doers. They're excellent at what they do within that space and context, but it doesn't translate to them being a good leader. It doesn't translate to them leading in that capacity because again, they have not they have not they have not activated their own leadership vision within self. And so when you learn to activate your own vision and start to align that vision with the vision of the organization, because I want to say here is that sometimes we think that the vision of the organization is just for it to look pretty on the wall, right? It's for it to the words are embossed and framed and it's on the wall, but the vision of the organization, it's a living, breathing document. And so, as leaders, when you go in, as new leaders, when you go into that position, it's you now becoming self aware and learning to activate your own vision, your own why. Why are you in this capacity as a leader? And if it is that you're in the capacity because someone forced you into that place to do their bidding, then you need to understand, you need to introspect and ask yourself, do I really want to carry out this function? right? And so when we become clear, when we activate our own vision, we get clarity, and we're able to lead a team. We're able to lead the team through visionary exercises. We're able to lead the team because we have our own values. We're anchored in our own values and creativity. And so, you know, the key takeaway here is, as new frontline and mid-level leaders, if you want to lead with authority rather than just control, you have to shift your mindset. It's a mindset shift that is required, because leadership begins with self-awareness. It begins with clarifying your vision internally, as well as maintaining it, or getting it alongside, aligning it, making it align with that of the organization, and living out that load, living out your vision aloud. And so I want to welcome those who are joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I see we have Lisa, sorry, Lisa here. We have Lisa here with us this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about command without control. How can new leaders lead in a space without overstepping? How can they lead with authority without overstepping? And we are here this morning in another episode of Finding Freedom Through Confidence. And this is our series, Leadership Unlocked. And so, Dr. Marcia, one of the things that I was looking at recently, as actually I was listening to an interview recently with Sir Ben Isley. He is the most decorated sailor in the UK, and he's an individual who sails for a number of years, but then he transitioned into leadership, where he started his own company, and then he had to bring on a team. And so, he had to now clarify that vision, not just for himself, but clarify the vision for the team whom he has brought on, and also to recognize that I am not a one-man band anymore. I now have persons who are with me, who they know different things. They are more skilled in these different areas than I am. How can I lead them without feeling like I have to micromanage them, feeling like I have to control everything that they do? Like, because and the interview was so profound, because he recognized that, yes, I was the best at what I am, the best at what I do in terms of sailing. I have won multiple Olympic gold medals. I have won other medals. I am decorated in this capacity, but I still fall short in different areas, and I need people who can help me to get the vision, to bring the vision to a higher level. And it was so fascinating, Dr. Marcia, when I watched that interview, because I think many persons, when we step into that space of leadership, again, we go in with some amount of insecurity, because we we are bringing others on, or we go into a team where we are not the expert, right? We're not the only expert, then, so to speak. And so we start now leading, in that space. But what can leaders do differently? What can leaders do differently as it relates to know, emerging leaders to lead with authority without overstepping? What can they do differently in that space?
Well, what I can say from experience and from observation over these years is that vision cannot you cannot tell people your vision. And there are many persons who, many supervisors and many leaders who say to you, you need to communicate your vision and you need to get people to buy into your vision. And I always look at it as force. But I say the vision for me isn't just where the team is supposed to be going. It's really where you are
Mm-hmm.
taking them. And so if you
Yes.
are taking out your family, you and there are, for example, small children, very small babies. You have to put their clothes on, you have to bathe them, you have to set them up, you have to give them their toys to occupy them while you go and prepare yourself. If you don't prepare yourself before, you know the flock that you're having. For a new leader, the new leader
Mm-hmm.
has to be given the time to know how the persons in the organization operate and how they think. One of the ways to get your vision, the buy into your vision, is to find the head in that organization, in the informal structure. Because in any organization, the informal structure is more powerful than the formal structure. And we tend to miss that. The
Mm-hmm.
informal structure are leaders who have being designated by their team members as persons that they can trust,
As
and they have
leaders.
the influence that is more
Mm-hmm.
powerful than any supervisor or any board or any CEO or president. It's not the money that they care about, it's that this leader understands where they are coming from, where they are going, and understand what is affecting them, and can take the steps to help them to get that clarity, that peace, that joy from their work. And they bond together and can overturn your organization. Many supervisors,
Mm-hmm.
many CEOs, many officers of, what do I call them now? Of mentorship. Because when you have people mentoring you in a district or in a province, they miss that part of it, and they feel the theory of leadership is just to get people to buy into your vision. Because people are dynamic, that's the first step.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get into that informal structure, you have to bond with the informal structure, you have to listen to what their needs are, what their core values are, what their visions are, and you have to reframe your vision so that when it is presented, it touch those core values of those who you are serving, and it allows them to protest themselves to see what they can produce. And you must give them the opportunity to tell you how they want to contribute to the vision, and you give them the space and the time to do what they their expertise, their capabilities, their propensities push them to want to contribute. Let me give an example. A vision might be
Mm-hmm.
that in 3 years you want to make your organization brand develop in such a way that it becomes irresistible and it is global. International persons acquire your products. And have somebody
Mm-hmm.
who can work in the tech department that does very well, but that person can produce what you carry to him. He doesn't have any creative ideas to say, let me design it this way. But if you come with a design, he can touch it up, he can fix it up, he can say this doesn't fit here, or I would change the color and so on. So you
Mm-hmm.
need to have
Mm-hmm.
somebody that will
Yes.
come with that catching tagline, that design that he can touch up and fix up. It doesn't make him incapable. It means that his
That's right.
specialty, his strength is not in the creation. It is not
The
in the design,
design.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not in the creation. It is in the production. And the production is as important, if not more important, the finished product than the creation. They all tie together. So we have to be able to understand that when a vision is well communicated, it takes in all the needs, it takes in all the strengths and limitations of your team, it takes in all of their creativity and innovativeness, it takes in their vulnerability, their resilience, and it also empowers them. That's it. If it doesn't do that, anybody else can talk from here to tomorrow. Yeah, you can't communicate no vision if
Yes.
you don't know who you're giving it to. You can't give people shoes who don't have no feet.
Exactly. Exactly. That is so true, Dr. Marcia, because what are they going
No
to do
feet.
with the shoes if they have no feet to wear it? Right. And so it must be clear. Your why of what you're doing must be clear. It must be structured in such a way that persons can understand every aspect of it, even the
Very much so.
nuances, the different nuances of the vision, that they can understand where I fit into
Yes, and it
this
must be timely
vision.
too, and it must be paced.
Okay?
So you might have a vision for five
Yes,
years. You based on what you are now discovering when you are communicating your vision, based on the empowerment level, based on the accountability matrix, you can accomplish that vision in less time, or you might need extra time. You have to fit into
an
that.
extra
Yes.
time, right? Yes, because it is it again, as I said, your vision is not just or the vision of the organization is not just the pretty words on the wall. It is a living, breathing document where it is fluid. It is not just a destination that you want to arrive at. Is it actually a journey that you take people on with you as they grow into their own creative capacity? And when we say creative capacity, we're not just talking about the ones who can do the flyer, as Dr. Marcia said, do the graphics and that, but everyone have their own creative capacity, how to solve problems creatively and to bring that to the entire team. And we all have our individual strengths and weaknesses, and learning how to tap into that and coaching people, not just telling people, but coaching people into becoming a better leader than they are right
You see,
now.
you see this
And
thing called.
so
Go ahead. Go
instead
ahead.
of just instead of just saying, as a leader, instead of just saying do it this way, because when we have a vision, we can we sometimes we just say do it this way because we are seeing it how we want
Mm.
to see it, but it doesn't necessarily translate in that way, right? And so yes, you are seeing it a particular way, but what if when you take it to the team, you ask them, okay, what would the success of this look like if we tried it a different way? What are your input? What are your thoughts? What if we tried it? Ask them those questions, because that is why you have them as team members. So it's not just you doing everything, because that is you sharing the vision in action. That is not you just giving the orders, but you are actually allowing the members of your team, you're actually giving them the permission and the power to align themselves with this
The
vision.
disgruntled in an organization for a new leader. And let me talk about the disgruntled a little and vision. Because you see, persons who expected and really could have gotten the role, they already wear a disillusioned or disgruntled badge. They are already preparing to disconnect themselves. And so when you go in there to reframe your vision, that person would have had a vision, especially if the person did an interview and came out on top, but there was a prescribed person for the position. So that person would have had a vision. I know that new leaders feel and are being told constantly by misguided mentors that you are the boss and you are actually they con you to say you're an instructional leader, or you're in charge of, and you are the ultimate accountable officer, and so forth and so forth. So you must put down your foot and you must define. And so they go in there knowing, not cooperating with these persons, and saying, okay, this is my vision, how can we merge? Because I know that, and respect the position that they have, and respect that they are
Mhm.
now your companions and your partners, because they could have done the job if you never had that connection. So you know, come in and you say, this is my
Right.
vision, this is where the industry requires us to go, these are their standards and their benchmark. I value you, I value your input, I recognize that you could be doing this job. I am here now, and so I don't want us to act outside of the value of each other. I am not perfect. I
Right.
don't know all the answers. You will know enough based on your experience and the fact that you were a contender. So, how would you help me to refine this vision? How would you collaborate with me to integrate the desires that you see because you love your institution and you have been here for a while? How can you how can you add, or and what would you take away so persons feel appreciated and valued
Mm-hmm.
despite the
Right.
disappointment.
Right.
And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that resistance has become bitterness, where you cannot engage that person, but you have to live with that person. So, as best as possible, and it's in your power, you want to live peaceably. So, that person becomes the silent critic, meaning in that informal structure, they nudge persons to disagree with the vision, no matter how well you frame it, how well you empower, how well you listen, and so on. Because that person already had influence. That person is selling the story of disenfranchisement. The loyalty of a team that were already nested together makes them, some persons, unobjective. So you now have to find the heart in that group of people, and you need to sell that vision to the heart, who will now take it to the head because they're a part of, and begin to break the ice, melt the ice. And those are things that you don't learn when you are doing leadership. When you do a course in leadership for 4 years, you don't learn those things. You
No.
learn the static side of leadership. And then when the revelation comes, your personality traits, your support
Will show
system,
it.
your core
Yes.
values kick in, and you have to act. And so those are some of the things I want to put in the forefront for young leaders who are out there listening to us and who are being misguided, that you must put down your foot and you must drill in more when people are resisting. No, you can't.
Because that's
Yeah.
a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for disaster. And to just sum all of that up, it is, as we were saying earlier, it is that when you are, it's like you're using creative problem solving and not fear-based directives, because in that context you are going in and you again to the informal structure and you are seeking the buy-in from that space. And so it is not about going in with the big stick, right? It is about going in choosing how to share this vision, right? Again, asking the question, what would success
Mm-hmm.
look like on our terms, on the terms way? Look, what would success look like if we did it XYZ way? What are your inputs? What can you get the team to buy into to make this successful? Because at the end of the day, it's not just about the performance appraisal, it's not just about the bonus that you're going to get at the end of the year, but it is about us as a team, how we matriculate, how we gel together, right? And it is about giving your team members, again, the permission and the power to align themselves to
Yeah.
that vision. When you do that, not saying that it's everything is going to be smooth sailing, but it will be
Mm.
smoother sailing. You will have more buy-in to that vision that you want to achieve. And so, Dr. Marcia, this has been such a tremendous session this morning, despite all the hiccups that we had in terms of, connectivity issues, which we had no control over. But I want to thank you, Dr. Marcia, for coming in and for always sharing such wonderful thoughts and ideas. Because, as we said, we can go to the schools, we can do all the leadership courses, but when we get into that space of leadership, it actually reveals who we are. It actually reveals to us, do we have our own core values? Do we have our own, is our vision activated? Our own personal vision, is it activated? Am I living on purpose? What is the why of me being in this space, in this organization, in this capacity at this time? What is the greater why? And when we understand those, we certainly gain clarity on how to lead, not
I
manage.
want to add one.
How to lead with authority, not just manage and overstepping on
I
other
want to add
persons.
one. Yes, I
Go
want to
ahead,
add
Dr.
one
Marcia.
there. How do I effectively balance my authority? Because leaders have authority by virtue of the standards and policies and by virtue of appointment and so on. That and by virtue of being the final, the ultimate officer, accountable officer. You an accounting officer too, because those two terms are different. You want to ask the question, how do I effectively balance my authority and empowering and trust to my teammates, because that's where the crux of the
Mm-hmm.
matter begins. That's where performance is cemented in trust, in empowerment, and in respect. And sometimes in that journey, because you're a new leader, there will be times when there seem to be more division than coercion, because persons are trying to find themselves. And there might be persons there who need to exit the organization. And so you come in with persuasion, not force. And they will be persuaded to exit, because some of them you will never get them to be the buy-in, because their personality traits that carry unforgiveness and malice and revenge and bitterness is so embedded in them that they will not allow you to lead. And as long as you're there, you have to learn those skills to balance your authority with empowerment. You can't become a part, you can't use their methods to overcome them. And one of the ways is that your compelling vision must inspire and motivate people to be themselves and to test themselves to see what they
Yes.
can produce. And we also want to focus on who we are. The leader must maintain his or her character of justice, of honesty, of integrity, of morality, compassion, as they advocate these variables that will come up in relation to who you're dealing with. They must be able to navigate these where needed without feeling guilt. Because when you are sure that you're treating people the way you would have wanted to be treated, should the situation be reversed, even when they feel that they are treated unjustly, the record will speak for itself much later down the line. There are many leaders who take over schools who felt that the other leader was such a tyrant and such a terrorist, who now would have exchanged the position and is now reaching out to those leaders to say to them, I understood what you were going through, but I judged you when I did not know. And that's the thing about leader revelation
Yes,
that I want to end with.
that's true. Thank you, Dr. Marcia. And so just to tie what Dr. Marcia says in a pretty bow,
Yes,
self-awareness and
yes. And
self-management.
self accountability.
Self-awareness and self-management. Because when you learn to manage yourself, which is taking responsibility for your own well-being and your
And
own
who you are.
behaviors and stuff, trust me, and who you are, that's it. Self-awareness, self-management, just to tie all that in a pretty bow. And so if you're an HR director, operations leader, learning and development executive, I just want to say to you that sometimes what is happening is that your new leaders, they want to do well. It's not that they don't want to do well, they want to do well, but many of them, they are leading from a place of fear. And we spoke about the fears that they're leading from a place of insecurity. They're not leading from a place of activated vision. And because they are operating from that place, you find that you have turnover more than you would really want to. You find that you have the team disengagement more than you would want to in the workplace, and you find that you have the communication breakdown, as we have so thoughtfully shared. And so what they need isn't, it's not more rules. They don't need another, what you call it now, cookie cutter leadership training. What they need are frameworks like the MVP growth leadership tour that I have coming out. What they need is not more tactical training, but what they need is transformational rewiring of who they are as a leader, transformational rewiring of their mindset, of their beliefs, right? Of what performance really looks like. And so this tour, this MVP Leadership Growth Tour, it it will equip your emerging leaders, your new frontline leaders, your mid-level leaders with the mindset to lead from vision, from value, from purpose, and from creative clarity, so that they can continue or they can begin to empower their teams and not to micromanage them. And so here's the last thing that I want to leave you with is that if mindset is currency, most managers are stuck in overdraft. So how do you expect them to balance their leadership checkbook? This store is the one that is going to be open. So again, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Finding Freedom Through Confidence. I had with me my esteemed colleague, Dr. Marcia Thomas. She is a Christian life and leadership coach. She's a 6 times best-selling author. She is the creator of the Free Model. And I was and am your host, Tanique Easy, and I help organizations unlock the power of their new frontline and mid-level leaders with my proprietary MVP framework through speaking, coaching, and training. Until next week, take care and continue to lead from a place of clarity with your vision activated.
Bye,
Bye for now.
everyone.